At its best, first-person sci-fi puzzle adventure game The Entropy Centre shines as brightly and mind-bendingly as did the original Portal, its phenomenal sequel, The Talos Principle, and other great puzzle-centric games of the last decade plus. At its worst, well, let's just say that the Entropy Centre likes to get in its own way, often undermining its intense, at times fascinating plot with forced humor, or compromising its occasionally brilliant puzzle solutions with clunky platforming sections and poor optimization. It's certainly not all bad, but it's certainly not all good. So let's put the Entropy Centre under the microscope and help decide whether this game is right for you. Set in the year 2035, the Entropy Centre follows amnesiac protagonist Aria, who awakens without a clue on a seemingly abandoned moon base dedicated to reversing cataclysmic events on Earth through time travel. And when I say cataclysmic, I mean it. Aria and her talking portal, Entropy Gun Astra, an AI that's equal parts annoying and endearing, set about to stop the Entropy Center's impending reactor meltdown, and doing so hopefully restoring the Earth and maybe Aria's memories to their former existingness. I really enjoyed the Entropy Center's thought-provoking plot and did my best to mentally separate it from the game's so-so characters and relentlessly chatty but rarely funny dialogue. Regardless of whether its dialogue sucks or not, the Entropy Centre nails what matters in a puzzle game. This is the part where you say puzzles. That's right, while the first few of the Entropy Center's dozen-plus levels do little to reinvent the point gun at cube, make cube do thing genre, the game's later levels are stellar, incorporating more and more increasingly complex, quote, puzzle elements until individual solutions begin taking you up to 30 or more minutes to crack. It's delightfully, devilishly challenging stuff that's sure to please fans of the genre. Such a shame then that these satisfying puzzle solutions are so often ruined by pinpoint platforming sections that the Entropy Center's controls and camera just aren't equipped to handle, or near game-breaking bugs that can completely undo minutes of puzzle prep time. Really, I was very close to giving up on this game at about the 5 or so hour mark, when a certain puzzle demanded I float cubes down a river, but on trying to retrieve said hell cubes from this river of rage tears, well, yeah. Of course they're hard to pick up, laughed my wife. They're slippery. Indeed, this glitch would be hilarious, but for the fact that the Entropy Centre only allows you to reverse an object in time up to 38 seconds. A timer that starts ticking as soon as the object starts moving. This rather arbitrary design decision forces you to think painstakingly about moving anything, as you don't want to exceed the time limit and accidentally erase a puzzle element's path from, say, resting upon the platform that opens the door to victory. And no, that wasn't theoretical. Believe it or not, the Entropy Centre sports a handful of decent combat sequences in which you manipulate time to destroy helper bots convinced you pose a threat to the center itself. Some of these sequences can prove rather thrilling, but they're a bit rough around the edges and there's too few of them to call the combat here a strength. Ditto that for the game's simple UI. First, I was disappointed that it highlights the objects you can manipulate, as I felt that sucked some of the mystery from the world, but as the game progresses, this decision starts to make more sense. That said, what you can manipulate in the Entropy Centre is pretty limited, and you're never going to feel anywhere near the same level of mad scientist that you did in Portal. As for value, at the time of recording this, the Entropy Center's publisher hasn't yet announced the game's price, so I'll leave this micrometric unscored for now. That said, you should get 15 to 20 hours out of the game, more if you suck at puzzles, and I probably wouldn't pay north of $30 for it. Last and probably least important, the Entropy Centre has a nice visual style that benefits from atmospheric lighting, though you will encounter some clipping and mediocre particle effects throughout. It's also a shame that the game's world is so environmentally one note. Outside of a refreshing beach sequence, get ready for gray. Meanwhile, while the game's electronic score is thematically appropriate, it's nothing special and a tad repetitive. Ditto that for the game's sound design, which never really stood out to me. So, in the end, the Entropy Centre is a bit of a mixed bag, but pretty much a must-play for puzzle lovers. I'm giving it an aggregate megascore of 3.21 out of 5, good for 24th all-time on the channel. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.